What's going on, everybody? We are back. It's another episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this live stream from the Star Wars Stuff podcast, you know him as David.
What's up, guys?
And we also got the one, the only Retro Ray. That guy.
What's going on, guys? We got an awesome show for today.
We absolutely do. Plenty of things to talk about, but before we do that, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors, Real Retro. All right. And we are back. If you're in the chat, say what's up. Ton of stuff to talk about. LeBron Fett. Already see you, buddy. Hi, everybody. What's going on, sir? We want to know if you went to Superhero Comic Con and Car Show, tell us what was your favorite moment. What's the best thing you bought? Who's the best celebrity that you met? We want to see all those comments in the chat. Today, we're going to be talking about so many things. The Wolverine Deadpool photo that nearly broke the internet that came out just like 48 hours ago. We're going to be talking about that. Also, a ton of Superman Legacy cast information. I thought James Gunn was kind of just toying with us, that the casting was epic, but we weren't going to get any hard information for a while. Showed me up. We got like everything basically in the last 36 hours. And if we have time, we'll talk about some Star Wars stuff. To steal David's podcast title, some Star Wars stuff. Because other than what happened at the Superhero Comic Con Car Show, there's also an Ahsoka series that's right around the corner, and there was a trailer that dropped that's absolutely incredible. So if we have time, we'll get into that. But first, I want to make sure that everybody is completely and fully aware about this weekend's big event. So, you've been seeing all of our coverage of the superhero Comic Con and car show. However, that is just one of many things that's been going on this summer. So, for example, this weekend is of course, I can't find what I need to find. This weekend is a Greece 45th anniversary. It's called Summer Lovin', and there's going to be several cast members in attendance. So take a look at the screen right now if you're in the San Antonio area. I highly suggest and recommend that you show up to this event. It is the 45th anniversary celebration. There's going to be two separate events all this weekend. Friday, there's going to be a screening at the Woodlawn Theater, and then there's going to be a post viewing panel with all the cast members you see on the screen, as well as the director, Mr. Randall Kleiser, I believe is his name. And then after that, then we're going to have a small Greece convention at the Wonderland of the Americas Mall, and that's going to be both Saturday and Sunday, July 15th and 16th. And now it's on your screen. Summer Lovin'. There you go. Free parking, VIP and fast passes, and meet and greets. You can all purchase those at the socialrevoltstore.com. Shout out to that entire promotion team. Shout out to their staff. They're amazing. And look at all these cast members you're going to get. I know everybody's extremely excited for Didi Khan. She's just such a sweetheart, and I can't wait to meet her myself. If you are able to still purchase seats to the Friday night screening at the Woodlawn Theater, I will be there moderating that panel. So, more moderating going on. But if you're a Grease fan, if you're somewhat of a Grease fan, I just feel like you cannot miss this opportunity. So many cast members: Lorenzo Lamas, Michael Tucci, Barry Pearl, Jamie Donnelly, Kelly Ward, and as I already mentioned, Dee Khan. All right. Any you guys have any thoughts about that? Did y'all know this like major Grease anniversary celebration was happening in town?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, we were working with them, but I didn't think they were going to get Dee Dee. That they didn't announce her to the very end. I was kind of surprised. I mean, she has that factor of a character that she's like a Boba Fett to me. You know what I mean? Only because she was in Grease 1, Grease 2. I mean, and it's just she's just one of those characters that you don't forget from the movie. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. And I've been watching videos of her, interviews with her at previous anniversary events. She's still like the sweetest person. She's still like so enthusiastic. I just can't wait to just meet her. I can't wait to just hear her say something, anything at all. Um, and so I'm preparing again for another panel, and I'm going to treat this one just as important and valuable as I treated all the ones from this past weekend, which is what we're going to talk about right now. So, without further ado, let's talk about the Superhero Comic Con and Car Show 2023. Once again, if you're in the chat, if you were lucky enough to attend, let us know what was your favorite part about it. We honestly really want to hear from you guys. So, absolutely, get in here. Let us know what you thought about it. And what do you think they could improve on? Which I want to assume it's not much, but I was extremely busy as much as most of us were on the team, and so I mean, I'm curious to hear about it. What do people think wasn't that great? Because I've only seen positive comments about this place, about the entire weekend. So let's kind of start off with just overall reaction. It's it's now Wednesday. We've had a few days to kind of recuperate, recover. David, we'll start with you, man. Now you're just sort of thinking back on the weekend's festivities, what is your like it just overall view of how the weekend went?
I thought it was fantastic. It was great. Of course, we had a booth, so our experience is a whole lot different from everyone else, most of everyone else. But yeah, I thought it went off without a hitch. The celebrities I thought we got this year were top tier, and it feels like every year since 2018, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and with more notoriety. Ray and I were at the Dallas Fan Expo, and I saw people on that group on Facebook talk about how they're looking forward to San Antonio because they knew it was going to be ran better. And I think compared to other conventions, I think the Comic Con car show is just simply ran better. You asked about how it could maybe be improved. I didn't understand the whole using your QR code to get a ticket for your photo op or autograph. That didn't make sense to me. I don't understand why they had to print tickets for that. Usually at conventions, you just use the barcode and that's pretty much it to get in. That's the way
Yeah.
they do it at Celebration. But other than that, I mean, they had the free arcade again. They improved that and they made that larger. They put it in a different spot this year. The food line was the best food line operationally that I've seen. You just get in a big line and you kind of go to the spot where whichever food type you want, you just go to that. But I don't think they really had signs kind of explaining that per se. It was just kind of like you kind of figure out what was going on. The cashier system was pretty high tech. The cashier had an iPad in front of them that I think it wasn't the swivel, but there was a screen in back of it where you could simply do Apple Pay, which is what I love. You do that right quick and just hit no receipt and just move on,
There you
and
go.
that worked out really well. And yeah, the caliber of celebrity, man, it was awesome. I got to meet Katie Sackhoff several times, and she was really my goal for the weekend was to get an autograph on my helmet there, as you can see right there on the cheek of the Bo-Katan helmet.
You even have it turned to the sides. You can see
Yeah,
it. I
of
love
course
it.
I got to display it, man. And I had her autograph from Comic Palooza in Houston about 2 years ago, and I asked her then, please come to the Comic Con and Car Show in San Antonio. And she thought for a second, she's like, San Antonio, and then she did it. I mean, she came. she was invited. She came. Last year she was in San Antonio, but it was another small event, and Jose went, and he said there wasn't a lot of people, so I was hoping that wasn't going to scare her off. But yeah, she came back. She was awesome. You moderated her panel. It was fantastic. She held a dark saber. She screamed at the top of her lungs for Mandalore.
We'll
That was
talk about
awesome.
details in a second. We'll talk about details.
Okay. Okay. But
But
yeah, overall, fantastic. I recommend it to everyone. Um, it's a great place to take your family. Lots of stuff to do. Lots of places to sit too. That's different from a lot of other cons. Um, but yeah, I thought it was great. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. I made a lot of memories. Thanks, Ted, for inviting me to this. And yeah, I'll never forget it, man. It was so great to hang out with Ray, hang out with everyone from Countdown City Geeks doing giveaways. It was fantastic.
yeah, and Ray, I'm going to ask you the same thing, but just to kind of let everybody know. So, if you haven't been following what we've been talking about for the last couple of months, we had a booth out at this convention. Honestly, probably the biggest convention in Texas. I would probably bet on that, the way that it turned out. But you had superstars there. You had Brie Larson, Haley Steinfeld, you had Ming Na Wen, you had Katie Sackhoff, Andrew freaking Garfield was there, and so a lot of big draws for the crowd. And again, we had a booth. We had all of our outlets there. We had at peak all like 10 of our team members there. JC was out of town, so he couldn't make it. Jericho couldn't make it. So I think we maxed out at 10, but we also had my son who was there. Your buddy James was there, so we had other people around. But the booth was great because we were able to kind of meet with people all weekend long. We were able to give away merchandise, toys, collectibles, and then we also gave away movie passes. So over Friday and Saturday, I was giving away. I was getting emails from folks in the San Antonio area, and we were emailing them an opportunity to reclaim passes to go see Oppenheimer next week, which was fantastic. And then Sunday, I collaborated with Mike, and Mike's like, "Hey, let's do it this way." So I was like, "All right, cool." So Sunday, we gave away close to 100 tickets to go see Haunted Mansion, which is next week as well, to just residents in San Antonio. But we had a blast, and I'll talk about the panels maybe individually here in a second, and we can talk about our favorite moments of those. But again, if you were able to attend the Superhero Comic Con and Car Show, we're just trying to feel it out and just recap and just talk about our favorite things. So, Ray, real quick, just overview, like summarize the whole weekend. Was it a positive experience for you? What did you think they did well? What do you think they
I
might
mean,
have improved on?
from the comic book standpoint, I mean, overall, like you said, the guests were phenomenal. I mean, dude, how can you go wrong with Haley Steinfeld, Katie Sackhoff? I mean, it was just crazy busy weekend for us running the floors. Um, you especially running between the booth and back. Um, it was cool, like I said, especially we had this, and of course after we'll be talking about this a little bit later, but this beauty dropped over the week or the couple of days. But one lucky fan, if for us, is probably going to get one for free. Our goal is to get 1,000 people on Instagram. We're at 847, so help us get there. This will be given away for you guys. So, but yeah, it's a great show. I mean, the panels, I think, be honest with you, I think we could have had, they should have just had them in one area, but I kind of get why they had them separated. Um, because people were blocking the aisles when, Katie was there and then Ming was there. It was kind of tight in that one area.
Yeah,
But yeah, other than that, I mean, everything else it ran smooth. You know what I mean?
for sure, for
But
sure.
but yeah, definitely loved it. I love the show.
Let's talk about the panels now. And Legacy Nerds in the chat saying what's up. He says, I met so many people at the booth. Yes, you did, brother. You met so many people, and I feel like you were Oprah. You were like, you get a prize. You get a prize.
That was
You were
David.
handing out David too. Between you and David, I would honestly like to find out who probably gave away the higher number of like value prizes, not like one or two, but like overall,
Oh
what's the
no, Godspeed,
valuation?
man.
Let's kind of talk about the panels because that was clearly the highlight of the weekend. Um, Felicia Day, I know she was really early on Friday, and she was my first panel. And even though she probably wasn't the biggest name or the biggest draw for the convention, I probably had the biggest ties to Felicia because she writes and stars in one of my all-time favorite shows. I grew up watching Mystery Science Theater 3000, which is just like it's a show that's unlike anything else that's come before it or after it. And so when it went off the air, it wasn't you didn't really like care all that much back in the late 90s when shows just stopped. They just stopped, and you didn't have social media to go and complain about it. But when there started becoming more interest in bringing it back, I was like, oh my God, is this true? This is possible? Netflix, you're making my childhood dreams come true again by bringing, back one of my all-time favorite childhood shows. And Felicia's a part of that. And she grew up being a fan of it as well. And she's been in Supernatural and she's been on all these other really geeky things. And she wrote The Guild. And she's super intelligent. She's a freaking valedictorian at UT. Um, and it was just, even though it wasn't the biggest name on the list, I still treated her like she was because to me, she absolutely is. And so the whole weekend started off on a real big high for me because we got to talk about MST3K, baby. Mystery Science Theater 3000. If you want to know what the hell I'm talking about, go on to Netflix after the stream is over, get your kids together, and just it's called Mystery Science Theater 3000 The Return, and you're going to just go press play, and you have to, I mean, it's not a TV series. It's a parody in space that they do bits, they rag on like really crappy B movies from like the 80s and 90s, movies you've never heard of. So when I tell you like that's what they do, it's not gonna make any sense, but that's okay because it doesn't need to make sense. But yeah, it was fantastic. I really want to talk about another big like moment for me was the MJF Jade Cargill AEW panel with Tommy. So for people who watch the WrestleCast, if you don't, you should. Even if you don't like wrestling, you should watch the WrestleCast. They're on tomorrow night, 9:15 Central. And Tommy and Mike and JC, they are the biggest wrestling fans you'll ever meet. They are encyclopedias on wrestling, and they'll deny all of this what I say and stuff. But I'm not joking with you when I say that. And so when the time came when they announced these AEW like superstars, these are like the biggest names in AEW. I was like, we need to get Tommy to do this. I said, who would like to do it? Tommy was like, hey, I wouldn't mind. And I said, all right, we need to get Tommy to do this. And if you don't know who MJF is, think of the most rude, crude, biggest a-hole wrestler you've ever seen on TV. He's 10 times as bad as that guy, right? And so I'm not gonna say I was worried. The I wasn't concerned on how it was gonna go, but if there was like any panel this weekend that was sort of like it could go very off the rails at any moment, that was the one. And I wasn't worried how Tommy was gonna do. He did his homework. He knows these wrestlers. We were prepping all week. He had a great a great script. He knew what he was going to do. He's been a ring announcer before. But if you want to see some highlights, we have one video out there now. And no, we have the whole panel. We have the whole panel on YouTube. So if you want to see the AEW panel, from the very get go, from the very first second, MJF looks at Tommy and says, they couldn't get anybody more attractive to moderate this panel. And I'm like, wow, he's right out the gate dropping crap on him. But Tommy handled it like a champ. I am so proud of how he worked up there from beginning to end. I feel like nobody could have done a better job than Tommy did. And I think the proof is in the pudding. MJF throughout that panel. This is a guy who doesn't show his cards. MJF, he doesn't take his wall down. You know what I mean? Like, he's never genuine. He is blatantly honest to a fault, but that's his gimmick. But there were multiple moments in that panel where he was almost showing respect to Tommy. He would say things like, "That's a great question. Yes." Say more stuff like that. And then after everything was over, Tommy said they went outside to kind of like say their goodbyes. And MJF, he can't show emotions. He can't like break his character, but he gave him a nod of approval. And that was just enough for Tommy to be like, okay, we did it. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Let's see. Elizabeth Olsen also was the big panel at 6:30 at night on that Friday. What do you guys most remember from that panel? Anything in particular?
Man, they were asking so many questions about the show here in Texas. Um, it was just overall what they were trying to ask her about, if she's coming back. I don't even know where to start. What about you, Dave?
I actually stayed at the booth when they had the panel. I didn't go in person because it was at the Freeman Coliseum. You had to walk outside and do the whole trek. I went to Ewan McGregor's panel last year. That's how I know what the setup is. But yeah, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen was here last year filming her limited series, Life and Death, and she shot some scenes in my hometown where I live, which was crazy and incredible. You watch the show and you can see spots from my town. But I mean, yeah, overall, I thought everyone enjoyed it. And it seemed like people packed that Coliseum way more than they did last year because I think people kind of understood the way it was all kind of set up. And the amount of celebrities they had this year in the Freeman Coliseum was a lot more. So everyone was kind of trained to do that and go out there. But yeah, I mean, she's awesome. There's a lot of stuff on social media about her visit, and it was all positive. So it was really cool that she decided to come to San Antonio.
Yeah, one of the things that I really took away, and I think Legacy Nerd's hitting on it. He says that she talked about how disorganized making Doctor Strange 2 was also that she kind of pulled the curtain back a little bit. A lot of people ask her, how was it working with so and so? How was it working with so and so? And she let it all out. She's like, never saw them on set. It's all like green screen for me. They're on the other side of the world. Green screen for them. They put them together, and that's a movie. That's how you make it, folks. Mike Hinojosa says, was a good panel for sure. Absolutely. I'm not taking anything away from it. It was a great panel. She was a sweetheart. She was great, but yeah, she's just like, yeah. She said, I think the most interesting thing that she kind of let out about Marvel was she wants them to figure out X-Men. And she also said she doesn't watch any other Marvel properties, but she says, I really want them to figure out X-Men. Figure it out. Get it done. Hurry
I
up.
yeah, I think that's due to the fact that before she did WandaVision, she did her research on House of M and how that ties into Scarlet Witch being the daughter of Magneto. And of course, we have Michael Fassbender in the Fox universe, and now Disney owns it. And now with all the Deadpool stuff we're going to talk about here, it's possible that might all meld and come together. Ian McKellen, Michael Fassbender, and Olsen. So yeah, the possibilities are really cool.
Absolutely. Legacy says talked about a lot of what she wants to see happen in Marvel. Yeah, definitely. Um, it doesn't sound like though she's ever going to come back. It sounds like that door's closed. She's got no. She doesn't need it, right? She's on, the best drama on television, arguably. Um, Huge superstar, and I think the door's open for her to come back, but I don't know if there's anything left for her to kind of do or figure out. The way they left it in Doctor Strange too. Mike says Wanda, daughter of Magneto. Yes, that would be badass. And hey, Jack said the same thing. You're right. You are 100% right. Jackman said, "I'm done. The story's closed." But the only thing is like Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds, who he's a massive friend of. He was the only reason why he would ever come back, and I think he might have said that in an interview once. Like, what are the circumstances that he would need to come back? And I think he had, because this came out, right. Deadpool 3 was supposed, or was it 2? Deadpool 2 was supposed to be him and Wolverine at one point, but they couldn't figure it out, and Jackman was so busy, and so they kind of changed the plan. But
Yeah, Hugh
yeah,
Jackman said in interviews that he wished that Fox and the MCU, Marvel Studios, could be friends, kind of like Sony and the MCU, come together and do something like a Planet Hulk, where they can involve Wolverine and get
yeah,
Universal involved and have the rights to Incredible Hulk, which the MCU now does. So now it's like we have this big sandbox now. It's unlimited stuff they can do with all the Marvel characters.
absolutely. Let's go to Saturday, shall we? It all started in the morning with the Emilia Clarke Kit Harrington reunion. This is the first time these two have been on a panel stage in North America. Somebody said ever. I'm willing to bet they've been on a San Diego stage before, um, or maybe not, because I know they're both extremely busy. They have both of them have very busy schedules, so maybe that's true. Um, Either way, it's been years since the two of them have actually been at an event like this together, and they are so amazing. They're so wonderful. They're the best of friends, and you see that chemistry on stage that they still have with one another. And I think if I had more time, I really wanted to meet Kit. I really did. Get an autograph, get a photo with him, anything. But just to kind of be there, seeing them was it'll have to do. Just because we were so busy, I was so busy, we were all so busy. But any big any big topics or anything major that they had said during that panel that y'all heard?
I didn't get a chance for that one.
Yeah, same thing again. I didn't attend anything in the Freeman, so anything in the Freeman, I just didn't get to go to, and it was fine. I mean, I was really more interested in what you were doing at the IHOP celebrity panel stage, and then being at
Gotcha.
the booth. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Kit and Amelia being together, yeah, they had to have done something at San Diego Comic Con, because I've seen panels. I'm one of those people that kind of stay home, watch all the panels that drop on YouTube with like bated breath and watch everything. And I know they did a panel. There was a Game of Thrones panel for the very last season. And I remember people going back to that and looking at the reactions when they were asked about the last season. So I'm pretty sure they were there in San Diego before that last season aired. But yeah, the I mean, Kit is gonna have a fantastic career going on with possibly Blade whenever that gets shot eventually. He's gonna be the Black Knight for
Well,
Marvel.
actually, I think he said in the panel like Black Knight's not supposed to be in Blade. He says there's a lot of confusion around that. I think he said initially Black Knight isn't supposed to show up in the Blade movie. Now, whether or not that's changed, I think is still open to interpretation.
Mhm.
But he said that verbatim. Like, I don't know where this, this kind of got out of hand, but this wasn't the thing that was supposed to happen.
Well, it was a post credits from I think the
You're right.
Eternals, right?
You're right.
Because you hear Mahershala Ali's voice as Blade, and everyone was like, "Whose voice was that?" And then it was confirmed that it was his voice. It was Blade's voice. So you figure they're gonna have some type of connection, relationship moving forward. Maybe not in the Blade film. Maybe in something like a Secret Wars or something else, a team up down the line. So,
Yeah, Mike even says they talked a little about that, but no plans for Black Knight. Yeah, and that always happens, right? A lot of these Marvel actors, and this is not a criticism of Marvel, but even somebody who's not a big part of the MCU, like gosh, I'm blanking on his name. The guy that played Red Skull in Infinity War and Endgame.
Hugo Weaving
Um,
or
I
Ross
don't know.
Marquand.
Ross, yes, even a guy like Ross Marquand, I've interviewed him twice about the MCU, and what I basically got out of it was they don't tell you anything. They basically like put a hood on your head. This is exaggeration, of course. They put a hood on your head. They throw you in the back of a van. They drive you for like 18 hours. They open the door. They put you in front of a camera and they say, "Now act." And they really, that's all you get.
That's
And I'm
wild.
exaggerating, of course, but it's like very close to that. He got like no information about what he was going to do when he played Red Skull. He basically got on set and they're like, "We need you to play Red Skull." And here's a few points that we're looking for. He's kind of like a ghost, omnipotent being kind of a thing. And go. And that was it. But he got no time to prepare. He got like no word of what he was going to do. His agent didn't know what he was going to do. Like, it's very
Wow.
hush hush. It's insane.
Well,
Dance,
Amelia
monkey,
Clark.
dance.
Well, Amelia Clark came out saying that it is kind of like you got to watch. You can't really say nothing. They watch over you. I mean, you really don't know what you're doing at all. I mean, she came out saying that she's afraid to say even if, when she was on set what she could say to anybody. It was that they get you. He says she's like she feels like they're watching you.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. The Let's go to the next panel after that, which I know Dave wants to talk about. Ming Na Wen, who's an absolute doll, and she's just so infectious. She's so exuberant. She's entertaining. She's hilarious. She's just a joy. I'm so happy that she was at this event, and look at this crowd. This is a very badly framed picture. There's like two sides of this screen that you cannot see because I'm trying to do a selfie with her. But so picture this crowd, but like extended all the way to the left and extended all the way to the right. It's probably like close to 1,000 people, or maybe 1,500. And so she's fantastic. I I what am I trying to say? The way that I prepared for Ming was that I knew she was um, extremely talkative and outgoing, and every now and then I knew that there'd be like it would get into like not flirtation like per se, but very close to that. And so I was anticipating those things so that we could play off of that
Mhm.
and really like entertain the crowd. So I hope you guys enjoyed it because I was waiting for those moments. I was really trying to like keep up with her and just make sure that we just put on this fantastic show for the crowd. So um that's what I was trying to do. But you guys tell me like from your side, like what did you think about the panel, like the flow and the energy and all that stuff?
Yeah, the panel was awesome. The flow was awesome. She's very down to earth, very energetic. She did the whole Chung Li dance, which I wasn't expecting. And I think people kind of forget that she was Chung Li in the Street Fighter movie. And that's kind of where like her really stardom really kind of got big. And working with Raul Julia, that's always a popular question. But yeah, I mean, she has the trifecta, like Mike Hinojosa says in the chat. I mean, she's done Disney with Mulan, the voice of Mulan, an animated film, and then she's done Star Wars, of course. She's Fennec Shand, and she's also done Marvel, Melinda May, and Agents of Shield. And I mean, she's a Disney legend. She just got her star on the Walk of Fame, and she's the best looking 59-year-old woman I've ever seen in my life. And I think, man, you really think about it and you think about the most beautiful women in Hollywood history. She's right up there. I mean, she's up at the top, man. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, she's so down to earth too. She
Yeah,
spoke to us. I mean, she feels like a real person, but I mean, she's big now win. She's done a lot. And I mean, yeah, she's like Hollywood royalty. So yeah, it was incredible. Incredible panel. Great job, Ted. Like I said, the flow was awesome. You had a very good rapport with her, and it I think the audience was digging it the whole time. It was awesome.
I it's weird. So I'll ask Ray the same question in a second. I've been to San Diego Comic Con, right? And I only go to Hall H panels, and that's not a flex. It's just like
It
I
kind of
want.
is, Ted.
It sounds like a flex, but
Just dropping names. Drop it.
I just mean that to say that I'm not going to fly to San Diego and not try and have like the best experience. And just for me, it's like seeing, a DC panel at Hall H, seeing a Marvel panel at Hall H. That's what I really want to do. That's why I want to go. And so I see the best panel moderators like in the world. I tell people this, like Chris Hardwick, Kevin Smith, those guys, they are so good at their job,
Hell yeah.
and I hope to one day be half as good as them. But I kind of see the things that I really like. I really like the crowd interaction. That's why I'll talk to the crowd 3 or 4 times during a panel. I like having energy. I don't want to be too relaxed and just have these really long discussions because I feel like you can get that anywhere. Like when Ming Na Wen goes on to Good Morning America, which she's been doing a lot of recently, or a news station, right? Those are those moments where like, oh yeah, let's have a really in-depth discussion about what you're doing and how's your family and your career and stuff. If it's Comic-Con, it's got to be a show. It needs to be a spectacle, and I want to achieve those things. So, all that to say is it's what I aim for, and I don't know how often I hit that target, but I want everybody, my the crowd, my panel guest, to have fun. And then like me personally, I'm not on that list. Like I want the promoters to be happy. I want the stage and the production team to be happy. I want every single person in the crowd to like gain something from the experience, and I want my panel guest to be comfortable and have fun the entire time. And then my needs, I don't have any needs. I don't worry about what I need to do. But I hope that's just what I'm going for. Ray, what did you think about the panel, man?
No, man, you're right. What you're saying, you want to be that moderator that it's not okay. So you can't compare what you're doing to news people. News people are there. They don't really know who these people are. They don't know what they do. What that's what brings or separates us, our group, from that type of media, is because we are fans bringing this stuff to fans.
Right? Yeah.
Because yeah, so that's what makes Star Wars Stuff Podcast, Countdown to the Geekcast. That's what makes us so different is because we're thinking from the fans' perspective and what we would want to see, and I think that's what makes us so different. Like the way you had in the panels, dude. Like I said, dude, I think you should do all the panels. That's just my opinion. But no, no, I'm being honest. I mean, like I said, because I'm like the same thing like you. That's a lot of the reasons why I go to conventions. One is for comic book artists. Two is for the panels, because if you have a good moderator, they ask the right questions. Things that get the person talking. If you get them talking, it's kind of like if you get that one guest and you ask them a question and that's it and they stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when they continue talking and talking, that's awesome because then they start just opening up, and that's what you want from from the guest, and then also for the fans to interact like you did with Katie. That's another one once we get to there. But dude, she was the nicest person. When your son had the idea, he just wanted the one for you. as a group, we decided, hey, let's try to get all the ones he hosted to sign his badges. That was, the goal for us for the weekend, but we didn't accomplish it. We were short, but we got close. But yeah, I mean, dude, it was a great panel, man.
I appreciate it. And Mike, I appreciate what you said, man. You hit it this time. My first time seeing y'all in action. I appreciate it, brother. Hopefully it's the first of many.
Yeah.
I worked half the panels last year, and then with this specific promoter, I've been doing Q&As and moderating events for them since 2018, and it's crazy how fast time flies by. But so they know me really well, and when they pick me to do things, I feel like they understand what I'm trying to do, what I'm going for, and it's got to be a show, man. I want to entertain, all these hundreds of people. If not, why are we there?
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's a great shot. I'm trying to find it of Ming Na Wen. I took her phone and she got a photo in front of the crowd, and it just came out so great. So I'm just trying to pull it up real quick.
Yeah, at the end of the
Um,
panel when she came down, we got to kind of like say, "Good job, we admire you." We Retro Ray handed her the artwork, and we kind of talked to her a little bit. I know Kenobi handed her a patch from his podcast, and I think she had a question. I answered it when she was in the golf cart to take her away, and she looked at me and she reached out to shake my hand, so I got to shake her hand and kind of explain the artwork to her, and that it was from Chris Owen from Glasgow, Scotland. And yeah, it's so down to earth, so cool. I mean, if you have a chance to get her autograph, photo op, do it. I mean, she's really awesome.
so I I wish it was the entire thing, because it was like the entire crowd from left to right again in the photo, but she put on Insta, so it cut out everybody. But still, look how happy everybody is. Everybody's stoked, man. They love it. I love it. It's great. She had such a great time. Um, yeah, she had a blast. She says so. Pretty cool. David Lozano's the first comment. Panel was great. American treasure, he says. Awesome.
Yeah,
Very cool. Let's see. Rest of Saturday. Rest of Saturday was Brie Larson. She had a panel, and I apologize. I didn't get to hear a lot of it because I had I think hers ran a little late, and I had to leave early because I had a panel with Alakwa Cox. And so I'll just really quickly talk about Alakwa, unless you guys have something to say about Bree. You have anything to say about Bree?
No, that one they were having like some technical difficulties or somewhat at the beginning, and then it started working, but we didn't get a
Interesting.
chance. We got busy at the booth.
Yeah, I went for the beginning, and as soon as it started, like I had to take off because I think she was running behind. But Alakwa was a doll, and for those who don't know, she is a person who is deaf, and so you see only me and her, but behind me are two interpreters. Um, I'm gonna get this wrong, but I think one of them is interpreting what I'm saying to Alakwa, and then the other interpreter is speaking for her, saying what she's signing to me. And so it was the first time that I've ever done this, but it was a great experience, and I loved how enthusiastic she was, and I loved like the entire setup, and it's a little, the only thing that is a little challenging to do it in this fashion, and I'm not saying there's any better way to do it. This is the only way you should do it. But when Alakwa is signing, she's not looking at me. She's looking at the interpreter who's talking, and so it's. Oh no, I'm sorry. Vice versa. When I'm talking, Alakwa is looking at the interpreter to kind of see what I'm saying, but she's not looking at me, so I'm talking to somebody who's looking away. So you can't probably see that in the crowd, but that's the only thing that's a little unusual. But I there's no other way I would have done it. And God bless you if you were in the crowd on Saturday, because I came out early and I said I need everybody. Everybody likes to clap. Everybody likes to cheer. Alakwa can't tell what you're doing, so everybody put your hands up high like this, and this is how you applaud in sign language. And so when Alakwa came out, the entire crowd did it, and she absolutely loved it. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see. It touched my heart that everybody was, willing to just go ahead and do it. It was amazing, and I think she got a kick out of it too. So if you were in the crowd and you were following along with what we were doing, then I really appreciate that. And let's see, Mike says would love for her to come back. She was awesome. Absolutely, she was great. And then earlier you said, why wasn't Ming in the big one? It's a very good question. Probably because Bree was in the big one, and maybe they can't put them too close together. That's my only thing. They didn't have very many panels in the big arena. They only had four, I believe, and they were very spread out. So it's probably all based on schedules, I would assume. I'm not privy to that information, so I have no idea. But do you gentlemen have anything to say about the Alaqua panel?
No, I mean it was cool. I was watching it. That one I kind of watched a little bit from the thing, and it was kind of surprising to find out that she was expecting as well. Uh, to be
Yeah,
she's gonna be a mother. That was pretty cool. Not just being a mother, but to be a superhero as well, or not a superhero, but you know what I mean.
yeah, and she said a lot of stuff about Echo. I felt like there may have been one thing that she said that was a little bit iffy. I think she, I think she was talking a little bit too much about other heroes that or other characters that we might see, and I don't know if she said too much on any of those things, so I won't repeat them. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's official and what's not, but I cannot wait for Echo. It looks like it's going to be fantastic. She was very. I mean, I told her, I said, don't say anything that's going to get you in trouble, but what can fans expect? And that's a very vague question. But she did say that Echo's going to dive into a lot of the character's backstory, sort of that Native American heritage. And so that's really interesting. I can't really wait to see what they do about that. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, she was a doll. She was a sweetheart. And I'm glad that I got that kind of experience to do the whole sign thing. Shout out to Sun Blue Interpreters. They were the ladies that were doing the ASL interpreting the whole weekend. They are all very lovely people. They're all extremely helpful. They helped me out with my signing and stuff like that. And yeah, it was
Yeah, they were
great.
awesome. They were really good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, also too with the streaming, that one's not gonna be a weekly drop. That one we're gonna be able to binge watch when it airs.
Brett says, I need to pay closer attention to when I plan vacations. Totally miss this event. I'm jealous. Those look like they were absolutely awesome panels. They were, so they were. You're not the only one. JC went on a vacation as well. JC, who runs the WrestleCast, and he unfortunately missed it too. Um, let's see. That was the last one.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, I just want to say to
on
go back
Saturday.
to what you're saying with Alakwa giving away a little bit too much information. There's a lot of stuff online that kind of describes who's going to show up. So maybe it was kind of okay because it's
Mm.
already online with like the special appearances and stuff like that. But yeah, like Ray said, it's all going to be dropped. The entire Echo series dropped day one on Disney Plus, which is going to be a first. And it's going to be an interesting kind of experiment type thing because it's the
Oh yeah.
first time they do that for an MCU series.
Yep.
Mike says untapped potential with Native Americans on screen for sure. Remember when Prey came out? Oh my god,
Oh, dude,
freaking
that
loved it.
man.
Still waiting for the sequel. Hurry up, 20th Century, right? 20th Century did that one.
Yeah, 20th Century Studios. And yeah, it got nominated today for 6 Emmys, I believe.
Yeah.
It got
Holy
nominated for
cow!
best TV movie, which is kind of funny, but it qualifies, man. Hey, if The Martian qualifies as a comedy, Prey qualifies for a TV movie, which it did premiere on TV.
Let's talk about Katie Sackhoff, shall we?
Oh man.
Um, I I don't have a favorite panel, so I'm not gonna say Katie is my favorite, but by far she had the best moment on stage, on any stage. That goes for, in my opinion, that goes for the big panels as well. Um, I I'm gonna tell this story, shall I?
Go ahead, man.
Number one, Katie. I went through a lot of her, career. I wanted to make sure we touched on a lot of things, which was great. She answered everything. We got through a ton of fan questions, and then when it came around, I'm gonna start at the beginning. When I started the panel, like right when I said hello, or when I said, welcome, blah blah blah, this idea popped into my head, and the idea was to have Katie hold a dark saber. If you saw the third season of The Mandalorian, I want to say it's episode 8, 7 or 8 maybe. At the very end is when Mando gives her the dark saber all willy nilly, no fight to the death, nothing like that. And yeah, Mike says the dark saber. Yeah, exactly. So in my head, like 5 minutes into the panel, I had this idea pop into my head, and I'm like, okay, by the end of this panel, I need to have her hold a dark saber, just to hold it and maybe say, "This is the way." That's all I was shooting for, right? So we go through the panel, we get through the questions. There's like 2 minutes, until she's got to leave, and meanwhile, every time I interact with the crowd during that panel, I'm looking for a dark saber. It's not just like, "Hey, what do you guys feel like?" It wasn't just that. It was a dual purpose. I'm scanning for a dark saber. There's like 4 or 5 lightsabers in the crowd, and I think I see a dark saber in the back with this kid who's like standing up. And shout out to that guy wherever he's at right now.
Oh, dude, he's in heaven right now, dude. Having
I
her
hope
hold his,
so.
dude,
I
that was
hope
just
so.
awesome.
And I
So
noticed he had an autograph on the blade, right?
he
Yeah.
did, and I was hoping it would smear, like, but luckily, maybe he didn't care. So let's get to the part, and I'll also share the video from this moment as well.
Nice.
Nice.
So I scan the crowd. I think I tell Katie something along the lines of, "I only have one more question for you, but I need some help." And so I say to the crowd, "Anybody have a dark saber in the crowd?" And I immediately point to the kid in the back holding what looks to be a dark saber, and I said, "Is that a dark saber?" And I think he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Bring it up here." And I think I said, "Make it quick," but I don't know if it was that rude. All, but I knew we were short on time, so I was like, "Bring it up here quickly." I think is maybe what I said. And then, um, Katie, I think I mentioned to her, "Can you just hold this and say this is the way?" And that's all I was going for. I didn't know exactly how it was going to go, but she grabs it, and then she suddenly kind of it all turns very serious. Like her energy turns very serious. And so I'm like, "Ooh, what is happening?" And then she starts talking to the crowd, and I'm gonna play the video now so everybody can see what happened. Um, can you hear that?
No.
I can't hear anything. I see myself in the background though. That's me and Ray right there.
She's so happy. It was amazing. Did y'all hear the volume on that?
No,
Mm-mm.
it had no audio.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm sorry. I did all that and there's no volume. Great. Let's try it again. She's so happy though. I'll play it again real quick. Wait till it restarts. Here we go, folks.
Because she's timid about the exception of the dark saber. She took it once before, and it went terribly wrong. So after explaining to Din why she can't take it, she's apprehensive, which we thought was a much better sort of like position for her. But there was one scene or one take where I went like this.
Yeah. Amazing. Honestly, I had goosebumps. I was like, what is happening? She got very serious. She started talking about, what Bo is going through when she's holding dark saber. And then when she started talking about, oh yeah, there was one take that we didn't use, and in my head I'm like, oh, is she gonna like scream or do something kind of cool? And sure enough, she did. And if you were in the crowd, you immediately understand how special that moment is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you immediately understand, like, the season ended months ago. She hasn't talked about this. Nobody's asked her to hold a dark saber, in this type of setting, and for her to kind of give us that intimate moment and just share it all with us without. I didn't ask her to do that. Is what I'm trying to get at. That's extremely special, and it's my favorite moment of the week. Unplanned. It was a great surprise, and oh my god! All thanks to Katie for blessing us with that moment. David, you're the Star Wars fan. We can see you in the back of the video. What was going through your head as she's holding it? What was going through your head when I asked for a dark saber?
Man, I was there off to the side. I had just met Katie again, I think, because I had gotten her signature on my helmet that you see right there. And then I ran or walked briskly to the stage, which was on the other side of the convention. She came in, and I mean, she was fantastic. All the energy, and specifically in that moment when you asked for the dark saber, I was like, "Is this like a pre-planned thing? Did Ted plant something? Are we gonna get like a rehearsed thing here?" But you're saying it wasn't. So the kid was all the way in the back with the dark saber. He
Yeah,
brings up a legit dark saber, brings it up, and she takes it. I noticed the signature from far, far away. I was like, oh my gosh, he just signed it. She's gonna take it. And then she started getting serious, like you said. And then she started talking about the cut that was the take that was cut from the show. And there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of takes that they actually cut out that she has spoken about. But I don't think she's spoken about this one. So this was special. So when she did that and she took the mic away from her mouth and she had that like guttural scream that was like still the same like sound level as the speakers, I was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool." And then everyone cheered and I was like, "Oh man, that's the cherry on top, man." I mean, that was like a Hall H happening, you know? That was totally a Hall H thing you would have seen, but we saw it in San Antonio, Texas, in a lot smaller setup and a lot less people. Even though, yeah, she could have been in the Freeman, it could have been in the arena, and yeah, I'm a huge fan of hers. I've been following her for so long. She's always been on the cusp of like a huge role for herself. I know she was like top 3 in some Tarantino films, and yeah, I'm just so happy I'm happy that she came back to San Antonio. She was here last year, like I talked about. And yeah, I mean, she's the face of Star Wars. I've been trying to tell that to everyone. And then her signature, I don't know of any other person that does a signature as beautiful as hers. So,
mm.
I mean, I got it a couple times now. And I told her to come back to San Antonio because I actually have some Funko Pops that I want her to sign. So I have the standard one and I have the chase one, and I also have a dark saber as well. If you can maybe see like right next to Yoda, possibly. I have the hilt up there, and the blade is somewhere around here. So yeah, I wanted to sign that eventually too, but I just wanted to come back to San Antonio. She's awesome. She's the face of Star Wars, and she's probably going to be in the Filoni film. So there you go. And she also
Which
mentioned a little bit of Ahsoka something or other, possibly. If maybe we misinterpreted it, but I think she might be in that series.
I think it was her, not Ming, where I asked about the movie,
Hmm.
and she was being very coy,
Right.
but like it was it was not heavy, it was very light, and so I started being coy, and I was also kind of being very light on the coyness, to the point that I don't think everybody picked up on that. So her and I are being very coy about her answer and a little bit of sarcasm. So I feel like it's sort of a confirmation without it being a confirmation, because we did it back and we were being very coy back and forth for
Right.
like two or
Yeah.
three responses. I don't know who picked up on it. I don't know if you were in the crowd or who else might not have picked up on it, but it was there. And I think we played it off too well. She
Too
also
good of an
said
actor.
she also said something very interesting. I asked her about the DC universe. She voiced Poison Ivy in the Long Halloween animated movie, and I
Hmm.
said, Katie, you would be incredible as Poison Ivy. And she let out, I don't know if this is something that's been talked about, that Karen Gillan really wants that role. So have you guys heard about Karen's name being thrown around
No,
about
Karen's
for a
has come
live
out.
action?
No, Karen's come out saying she wants it. That she
Oh,
actually
really?
came out. Yeah, she came out straight out and said that she wants to be Poison Ivy.
No offense to Karen. This is not a criticism of her. I just feel like Katie has this. She already exudes this sort of poison ivy type energy. Like poison ivy is extremely seductive, and she could be intimidating at times, and I feel like very intense. And Katie can just flip a switch and like pull all that off simultaneously.
Yeah,
It would be incredible if she was to play Poison Ivy in a live action setting. I
I
would love to
agree.
see that.
I agree. I love Karen Gillan, but I think I'm biased towards Katie. I would love for Katie to be in a big time superhero film. But then again, you have James Gunn, who's probably a whole lot closer to Karen Gillan. So that kind of goes against the whole thing. But if James Gunn really wants to kind of spread out his casting a little bit more and not have the same people over and over and over again, which we'll probably talk about later. Um, yeah, I mean, Kate, yeah, I could totally see her as Poison Ivy. I hope she gets another big role that she can really like sink her teeth into, because I think she's a really great actress. I think she's paid her dues, and I think she's got the chops too. I mean, she showed it in Star Wars. I mean, you can't get bigger than that. And with her succeeding and being the embodiment of now, like I like to say, the face of Star Wars, I mean, she pulled it off. She totally pulled it off.
Yep. Yeah, I fell in love with her back when
I'm muted.
at first I was questionable about her when got cast as Starbuck, but when she took on that role, I mean, she took it to the next level.
Ray, you want to talk about these art pieces that you gave her?
Oh yeah, so those two art pieces are done by Chris Owens. Like David said, he's out of Scotland. He trusted us with his art for the convention, specifically for this show. Um, he was ecstatic that Ming and Katie, after presenting them with as a gift, that they posed with the pictures and they actually loved the artwork. He was just shocked when I sent him the photos.
Yeah, the pieces are great, and they loved it. They both loved them. They honestly did. Especially the Bo-Katan one
Yeah.
um, is amazing. So yeah, definitely. Let's see. Yeah. Uh, what's it called? Like I think like retro Ray. I think like you said. I think it was you. Hall H moment. Was that Dave or you? Was that Hall H moment?
Well, I just said it right now when she had that guttural yell.
Yeah. It totally is a Hall H moment, and I totally want that for every single panel if I could. But if I can't do it every single panel, I at least want to get it once. And so yeah, the Hall H panel last year was Giancarlo Esposito breaking the internet saying he wants to play Professor X, Charles Xavier, at
Mhm.
this event with me, like hugging him. But if we had a whole H panel this year, it was absolutely Katie holding that dark saber, thrusting it in the air, and just screaming for Mandalore. If you didn't get chills when that moment happened, I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan. Like that was so amazing to see, and I was 8 feet, 10 feet from her when she did it, and I was just like, "This is incredible! It's so good." Yeah, awesome. The other panel that day was Haley Steinfeld. Again, I didn't get to catch a lot of it, but I know she talked a lot about her animated movie, Across the Spider Verse, and how fun that was. Chuck Woody, he also did a panel, and he's such a extremely intelligent individual, and we got a little bit brief moment to say hi to him, shake his hand, and that was all that we were able to do. But he was fantastic with the fans. It seems like he had a great time as well. Um, and if you guys have anything to say about those panels, go ahead and say it. If not, I'm just going to skip to Tony Parker.
Let's go to Tony.
Tony.
Let's go to Tony. All right.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of videos I kind of want to play. Um, I will let you guys know and let everybody who's watching know that Tony Parker was the first panel that I had like did research and like finished my script for. I do an outline, I do a script. I don't read it verbatim, but I kind of know, the things that I want to do and say and the ideas that I have and how I want to introduce people and how I want to end the panel. I practice all those things because I want there to be a nice energy and a good flow to all that. So I'm going to play first the introduction for Tony, which it went a little weird because everybody else, I did an introduction for them, and they were like hanging out on the side of the stage. And with Tony, I guess nobody mentioned to him to like hang back, hold on, not yet. And so he walked up right with me, and immediately it just kind of took off and happened. So, real quick, here is the introduction for Tony Parker, four-time NBA champion. Oh, well, I say it all in the video.
My name is Tony too. I was gonna do a little spiel, and I'm gonna take this moment to make sure I do it because I'm never gonna get this chance again, maybe. So my next guest, you might know who it is already. He is a winemaker. He is an author. He's a six-time NBA All-Star. A four-time NBA champion. He's got a Finals MVP. And very soon he's going to be inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. Make some noise for Tony Parker.
Yeah, so I practiced that intro for days, and I wanted to get that perfect, and I wanted to get that down because, like I said in the video, I might not ever get this opportunity to do it again. And I said it online. It's very rare that you get to honor somebody who brought so much joy and happiness to your city. I've been born and raised in San Antonio. I'm a diehard Spurs fan, and I was trying to do what I think all Spurs fans would have done, just taking this time to really show him what he meant to all of us. And so, as you can see, it did start off a little weird because he walked up with me, but the rest of the show I think went pretty good. What was your guys' favorite question or something that he had said during the panel?
David.
Ray?
Well, mine was when you asked them like who if you were to text, Ginobili and Tim, who would get back to you first. That was funny. I have to admit that. I kind of pictured Tim that way, that he's not really big into the tech scene and all that kind of stuff.
I'm glad you said that. Great segue because the next video is actually that small bit.
Oh,
So check this out.
Who's the fastest to answer? Manu.
Who's more?
I'm not lucky enough that Timmy responds. It just takes time.
Who's more likely to invite you out to like a dinner or a movie?
Actually, both of them. We always go to lunch or dinners. Manu will play more tennis or paddle tennis. That's what we do the most. We always play at my house. And Timmy always comes to my poker games. So play a lot of poker with Timmy. Timmy is a card player just like me.
Because he's got that poker face on at all times.
Exactly. He's got a great poker face.
Who's more likely to help you out as a favor, like move heavy furniture or something?
I'll say Manu because he will answer first.
Who's the better cook?
The better cook? Oh, I don't know. To be honest. I don't know. I have no idea.
We need to ask them to like make you something.
Yeah, that's a good question. I should ask them. I don't know.
Who's the better dresser?
I really have to answer that? Manu by far.
I wanted that response.
I say Manu, but Timmy doesn't care though, so he did wear a jacket for his jersey retirement though, so we'll give him props to that. I did ask him to wear a nice jacket for my Hall of Fame because obviously Timmy and Manu is going to present me, so I said, can you be at least be decent, please, Timmy?
My one favor, please. Last one. Let's say you're back on the team. You did something Coach Pop didn't like. You know he's angry. Who's more likely to take the heat from you?
But Timmy, because me and Manu, we always get screamed at. So Timmy was like good because we had me and Manu to get screamed at, so he was good.
Let's see here. Somebody wants to know, have you ever worked with international players from China? Do you have any advice or training tips for young Chinese players that you'd like to share?
Sorry about that. They cut right there. But yeah, that was the bit I was most looking forward to. I wanted to include something that was fun, that was a little bit outside the box. I probably should do that more often, but for now, that was just what I had. And yeah, especially that who's a better dressed individual question. That was
good.
one of my favorite moments of the weekend, just because of how he said that.
Yeah.
Mike wants to know, how do you get him, Tim, and Manu on a panel? You'll see them at the NBA Hall of Fame. They'll all be on stage together. Tony said he's already got Manu and Tim to kind of induct him, and so I cannot wait for that. Poor Pop, who doesn't really like the spotlight, or Tim. Tim doesn't like the spotlight either, and now you have. I think Pop's going to have to be on stage multiple times. One for himself, probably one for Becky, and Tim's going to probably have to be on stage twice, right? One for Parker, maybe once for Popovich as well.
Yeah, they're gonna wear that carpet out at the Hall of Fame. That's crazy.
Well, and
Oh,
you forgot about what's his name too that played for the Lakers and the Spurs,
Yeah,
oh
Pau
yeah, yeah,
Gasol.
Gasol.
Paul
Yeah,
Gasol.
I wonder who Paul's gonna bring up. You got to assume it would have been Kobe, um, if it wasn't for the tragedy.
I probably think he's probably gonna bring Kobe's wife because they were real close.
Mm.
That's possible.
Yeah. So I love the Tony panel. Um, it was a lot of fun. Honestly, it was mostly I kind of treated it a little selfishly, just because I wanted, like I mentioned earlier, him to understand exactly how the fans feel about him, and that is, we adore the guy,
Mhm.
because of all he's done for us indirectly. Like winning titles, yeah, it's amazing to do, but the way that it makes your city feel, you can't measure that. It's like immeasurable, like what it does to a city or a town, and he's done that for us 4 times. So we love it. Legacy Nerd says his favorite quote from Tony was, "I'm retired from basketball, not from life." He said that because I'm like, you are busier retired than you were when you were playing basketball. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
good.
yeah. Speaking for Ray here, I love the way that you introduced him, saying how you brought so many great memories to the fans of the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, it's an incredible thing to be born in the '80s, grow up in the '80s and '90s, go through what we went through, not getting close to the finals as a big Spurs fan. Then finally, we get Tim Duncan, and then we get a point guard in Tony Parker and Manu, of course, and then to actually achieve a dynasty with him as a starting point guard. I mean, and like, this cannot be understated. Tony Parker is part of the most winningest trio in NBA history. He is the win. He's part of it. Him, Tim, Tony, and Manu are the winningest trio in NBA over the Lakers, over the Bulls, over Jordan. I mean, there's so much excellence, so much winning, so many trophies, so many great times. I mean, when you grow up where we grew up in the San Antonio area, I'll, the biggest team we have is the Spurs. That's the only professional team we have. We have other minor league teams, but it's all about the Spurs. And for them to win 5 championships in our lifetime, some people will be NBA fans of their team and never even sniff the finals, never win a championship. And we have 5. And 4 of them are directly related to Tony Parker and his contribution. And he's going to the Naismith Hall of Fame because of it. And we're going to see it in about a month, and it's an incredible thing. Incredible. Very unique individual from France, makes his home in San Antonio now, comes back, calls this his home now, even though he grew up in France. And it's an incredible story. It's unbelievable to be alive at this point in time and to grow up in this area. It's a remarkable thing.
There was one question you didn't,
Amen, brother.
one question that you forgot to ask, and I forgot to text you too, since he's a big,
Oh,
you know, Marvel fan as well. That since Tim was on the cover of Punisher, what cover comic cover would he want to be on? That was one of the questions that we didn't get to ask.
gotcha. Well, he did say his favorite superhero or favorite movie. Which one was it? Was Iron
I was
Man.
about to
So
say Iron Man,
maybe,
yeah.
it would just have been an Iron Man answer.
And the joke is, why did he name his son Peter?
Oh, if we would have had a little more time, we would have gotten to that one.
Yeah.
Um, awesome. Any final thoughts about the weekend? Real quick, I'll just say that shout out to the Con Culture podcast. Juan Gonzalez and that entire team, they're friends of ours, and they put on a fantastic cosplay contest. The outfits were outrageous. They had over 100 applicants, I guess, or cosplayers on stage. So shout out to them for being just so awesome. And great group. And in this town where we have so many groups, so many podcasters that do similar things, I think nobody supports us outside of our circle more than Juan and his team, and I reciprocate that. I comment on their photos, I like their videos, I share their stuff, and every time I see Juan, I give him a huge hug because he's good people. So he's fantastic, and that group's fantastic. And if you are a cosplayer, you have to join their contest next year. They do it every year, and it gets bigger and better every single time.
Yeah.
Ray, favorite any final thoughts or any other things that we didn't touch on?
No, man. I mean, overall, the show was awesome. I mean, next year it's just going to be bigger and better. Um, I'm looking forward to it, especially for our podcast, Star Wars Stuff Podcast. I think what we're doing is just the beginning, and I think we're going to be in a bigger place next year. Have bigger booths. Maybe we'll take up a whole aisle this time. Um,
Hey,
yeah, and then like I said, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel and our Instagram, for the people who start to subscribe, you're gonna get this exclusive Chris Owen Ahsoka piece that he did, and Ahsoka herself liked this art on Instagram and added it to her story. So
Yeah,
one
Rosario
lucky
Dawson.
fan will get this from Countdown to the Geekcast. And we probably will have one as well for Star Wars Stuff Podcast. So two lucky fans will get one of these.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the official rules here? Because I feel like we need to put out a bigger promotion or a bigger
Well,
promotion
for
for
us,
this contest.
well, for the Instagram, right now we're at 847, subscribers to like the page. The people from now to we hit 1,000, someone from that number of people who liked our page is going to get a
Hmm.
lucky chance, going to get picked randomly to win that. And then
Gotcha.
Star Wars Stuff Podcast, we still got to talk with uh, David to see how he wants to do that one. But that's what the goal is for this one for Countdown.
I dig it. I dig it. Dave, what about you, sir? Any final thoughts? Anything else we haven't touched on about the superhero Comic Con and car show?
I mean, so many thoughts. I mean, I don't think we have a podcast long enough where we can talk about everything that happened, all of our experiences. I like Mike Hinojosa's question in the chat, though. Out of all the people you saw cosplay, what character stood out the most? There was a few. On Friday, there was a professional cosplayer that showed up. She was a 6 foot tall woman. She was blonde. She dressed up in the official Captain Marvel costume and looked like she just stepped off screen. And we were like blown away. We're like, we got to get a picture with this lady. So yeah, she was taller than me. She was like 6'1", 6'2" in her shoes. I mean, she looked awesome. We took a picture with her. There was also a Mysterio cosplayer who had the bubble cracked and the head on the inside was all bloodied. And I thought that was pretty cool. And the person that won the cosplay contest dressed up as Rocket Raccoon, and it's really cool to see like a Rocket Raccoon cosplay. And I think I've seen this person before on Instagram. I actually think they're kind of famous, but yeah, they won the contest. It was almost kind of like a high school mascot type of setup for the actual cosplay. But I mean, nonetheless, I mean it's pretty cool to see a Rocket cosplay. Got the biggest cheers and won the contest. Um, for some reason, I think at all Comic Cons you always see a Pyramid Head walking around. So you saw the Pyramid Head guy dragging the huge sword behind him. There's a few times I was like walking to go to the restroom or go get food, and he was like blocking the way, and I had to like walk around the sword. Um, but yeah, the cosplayers in San Antonio, they really brought it, and I'm always happy to see cosplayers and a lot of Star Wars. We saw a few Rays, a few um, Padmes out there, which was pretty awesome. Few Ahsokas. So yeah, I mean it.
A lot of
A lot of
Mandos.
Mandos, yeah, lots of them. There was even a Mandalorian that was infected by the fungus from The Last of Us. Did you see that person?
No.
I believe they put them on the official page for Superhero Comic-Con car show, and they also had a Grogu infected in the face with the fungus
Oh
coming
my
out. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, and they took a picture with, Katie Sackhoff, and I think she posted it possibly. But yeah, lots of creativity. I love the cosplay. There was also a guy, and General Kenobi pointed him out, who was Leon the Professional, looked just like the
I saw
actor
that.
wearing the beanie, carrying the plant that Natalie Portman had in the movie. And he was just like very stoic walking around. And it's like, man, yeah, he looks like a contract killer. So yeah, that was really awesome.
That is awesome. I saw Rocket. That's actually my it's one of my friend's daughter,
Ah, okay.
and she always has amazing costumes. I think for Ghostbuster Day, oh no, it was Big Texas last year. She went as Gozer. It was like a mini
Oh
Gozer, and
wow.
she had the hair down. She had the outfit all lit up with like these lights, these LED lights. It was really cool. I saw Casey Jones. I took a photo with Casey Jones, and I took the photo because like not enough people cosplay as Casey Jones from the Ninja
Mhm.
Turtles, and he looked spot on. Um, oh my gosh, Nick Cage played the motorcycle superhero. What's his name?
Ghost Rider.
From Marvel. Ghost Rider. There was a Ghost Rider, and you're like, oh, we've seen Ghost Rider before. No, no, no. This guy's Ghost Rider outfit was legit, and then he had smoke like coming out of his head. He didn't do it all the time, but like he had, it looked like very close to fire as you could make it. It was big and massive. It was all lit up, and then he had smoke coming out like of his neck, and it was just
Wow.
incredible. So shout out to Ghost Rider. He was legit. That was an awesome costume. And then I took a photo with Lydia. You don't see anybody dressed up as Lydia in
Beetlejuice.
her red, yeah, in her red gown from the Beetlejuice
That's
wedding.
awesome.
I was like, oh my god, that is incredible. And
Also, there was a guy
there
dressed up
was
as
a
Coco, right?
Coco. Oh my god, not Coco. It was but you're right. It was
Yeah,
Miguel,
Miguel from
Miguelito,
Coco.
Miguel from Coco, and he looked great. He was
Yeah.
also a big wrestling fan, I think. Oh no, he's a big Star
Yeah,
Wars
Star
fan. He
Wars
was
fan.
talking to you guys.
Yeah, he was in London with me, and yeah, he went with actually one of our listeners from the Star Wars Stuff podcast over to London, and we never met up over there, but we met up here, and we're like, yeah, come on the podcast, talk about your London experience, because there's not too many people around here that did that.
Exactly. I'm trying to remember. There's one more I wanted to call out, and I cannot think of it. So there was a guy walking around as Jon Snow who could have been his body double. He looked just like him.
I saw a few of those,
And
yeah.
he walked by me and I said, "The King of the North." And he just chuckled. There there was a guy dressed up as a Ghostbuster, and I'm in a Ghostbuster chapter in this country, in this city, and I went up to him and I yelled, "Two in the box!" And he looked at me like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, oh, oh." And he couldn't remember the line from Ghostbusters 2, but the line goes, "Two in the box, ready to go. We be fast and they be slow." And poor guy couldn't remember the line. You always got to be ready when you walk around me in your Ghostbuster outfits. Shout out to Paxton Chrissy. We call him Pac-Man. He's one of the leaders from the South Dakota chapter, and he flew down here on Saturday. He brought his kid. He brought his mom with him,
Wow.
and I told him like, bro, you're gonna have a blast. And we had members from Houston here. We had members from Austin here. So they were in the car show area. I really wanted to see them a lot, but I was, too busy. So I got to hang out with them every now and then. But shout out to my Ghostbuster brothers and sisters, because they're awesome, and I'm sure they just had an incredible time. And yeah, I guess that's it. Uh, Thank you to, again, all the fans in attendance. Thank you to the promoters, Bob and Peggy. You guys are awesome for letting this little Hispanic boy live out his dream by entertaining the masses at these Comic Cons. Shout out to the stage crew, the production team, April, who was the stage manager. I told her she is a lifesaver because she's the buffer. She's the one that gets all the information and she relays it to me. And it's one less thing that I have to do to kind of hear all the changes that they're making because things change every second, every single second. Case in point, I forget what panel it was. I think it might have been Katie. They were like, okay, she's going to be 30 to 40 minutes late. And I'm like, cool. I'm going to go get this photo that I need to get right now. And then as soon as I get to that room, they're like, she's on the way. And I'm like, oh. So I just had to hightail it back to the stage and go do the panel. You know what? We haven't talked enough about Andrew, the biggest
We haven't talked about him at
star.
all.
We haven't talked about him at all. The very last thing we'll talk about is this man right there,
Yeah.
Andrew freaking Garfield. I got a chance to hang out with him twice, not for very long, obviously. The photo op was very quick, but he was in a good mood. He was like, "Hey, so what do you guys want to do?" And I was spun as I walked in. He's like, "Cool, what you guys want to do?" "Hey, sweetheart." And I was like, "Let's do the pointy thing." And he goes, "You want to do the pointy thing?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do the pointy thing." And my son was like, "What's the pointy thing?" I'm like, the pointy thing. And so we did this, and so that's how our photo came out. But
Nice.
I loved it. The second thing was we got an autograph with him, which is up here. And I got this photo because I will one day get Toby and Tom to sign this as well. And I'm going to
Yeah.
have my Spider-Man, Spider-Verse autographs complete. The cool thing was, I mean, everybody knows how autographs work. They're very quick. They kind of push you in and out of these things. Uh, awesome picks. Yes. So the very cool thing about Andrew was he was in a very good mood. He was in a very good mood when we saw him. And again, I gave him another fist bump. I don't know why. I just felt like I wanted to make sure, he was kind of okay. And so he didn't have any panels. And I know a lot of people were like, hey, why isn't Andrew Garfield, the biggest guy here, why doesn't he have any panels? And the answer is very simple. He doesn't he doesn't really do conventions. And so this was a new experience for him, and he just wanted to like ease into it, try it out. He didn't want to go all out, you know what I mean? So good on him, kind of testing it out and see if he likes it or not. If it's a good experience, maybe he'll come back and then Ted can moderate his panel next year. But I told him, I was like, "Hey, my name is Ted. I'm actually the moderator on one of the stages back here." And he goes, "Oh, cool, man. That's awesome." And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Hey, listen, I know you're not doing a panel." And he goes, "Yeah, I just, I wasn't really ready for it." I was like, "Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's totally fine. But had you done a panel, I promise you, it would have been brilliant." And he he laughed and he goes, "Cool, man. I appreciate that." So, it's just cool that he's here giving access to these fans, these people who flew from all over the country, all over the world to come and see him. I mean, he's sold out. He's sold out of autographs. He's sold out of his photos. I mean, people kind of complain about, what the price of all this is, and I totally understand, but you're not getting Andrew Garfield if it's not at that price level. And it's just that's a fact. And so I totally understand if some people feel like it's too much money, but if he doesn't get that, he doesn't come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Yeah, I have two daughters that love Spider-Man. Ironically, they didn't love Star Wars. They love Spider-Man. That's their Star Wars. And if you go and take a look at my oldest daughter's room, it's wall to wall Spider-Man. When she went to go meet him, she got to meet him 3 times because she took a solo photo, she took a family photo, she got the autograph, and she wore her Pandora Spider-Man bracelet, her Pandora Spider-Man necklace, her Spider-Man shoes, her Spider-Man shirt. I'm probably missing something else here, but yeah, I'm so happy for my daughters because they grew up watching those movies on repeat on DVD because that's just what they loved, and they dressed up for many Halloweens as Spider-Man. And I posted the pictures on Facebook of them as babies wearing the Spider-Man costume, and yeah, I'm just so happy for them that Andrew Garfield chose San Antonio. Out of everywhere in the world, he chose this as his place to do his first signing and photo op. So I'm so happy, and it's so weird to see him in person and not in screen. I don't know. It felt different to see him in person because it just seemed like he was just almost like a normal looking guy. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I didn't get like the starstruck feel, but it was like, oh my gosh, that's Andrew Garfield. He's been in a lot of my favorite films like The Social Network and Dr. Parnassus, and of course he's Peter 3 in No Way Home and The Amazing Spider-Man. I wanted to ask him, or I wanted to tell him, I did tell him a few times, please come back to San Antonio, and he said, will do. But I wanted to ask him or tell him that I was looking forward to watching him in Amazing Spider-Man 3 to get his reaction, but I wasn't able to because we got ushered off so fast, and I didn't want to be rude and take up time and stuff. So, yeah. But I think that's happening, man. I think that's eventual.
I think so too. I've been hearing some rumors that I'm not even willing to say, but like the rumors are wild about what they're talking about.
But you
My
got forgot
daughter's like
about
stealing stuff. What are you gonna say?
well, you forgot about the Haley piece that you did too, the photo op with her.
Oh yeah, so we got a chance to it's in the stack somewhere. We got a chance to take a quick team photo with Haley. I had to kind of secure that for my son, who, even though he was meeting Andrew this weekend and he already knew about that, he was still going around like, "Oh my god, I'm not gonna meet Haley," and or like, "I really want to meet Haley," and I was like, "Oh my god, I get it, I get it, I get it."
16-year-old boy.
Even though I'm like, "She's too old for you, bro. Relax." So yeah, we took a photo with Haley, and Ray gave her a print, Spider Gwen print, and she loved it. She held it up
Which was
in our
awesome.
photo.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. Yeah. Uh, we talked about cosplayers earlier. I have my friend Chris, who I feel like if Dos Equis needed to pick a most interesting man in the world, he would be like first guy that they would need to look at because he goes to conventions every weekend. He goes to music festivals every weekend. I think he's older than me, and somehow like he just puts me to shame on all the cool stuff that he's doing. Whenever him and his family go to conventions, they have a theme, and so their theme this year was Spider-Man because of Andrew. And so, shout out to Chris and his family. Here's their photo with him. And if anybody was saying that Andrew wasn't having a good time, look at his face. Look at the joy in that man's face. So that's my buddy Chris on the left, and these are all of his kids, and I think nieces and nephews as well. So, shout out to them. They do this all the time, and they're so awesome.
Yep.
Nice.
Spider
And that's
Noir.
Spider Noir. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Peter B. Parker.
Yep, yep, yep. Even was this Venom Spider,
Yep.
Spider Venom, Spidey Venom. Yeah, freaking awesome. They did a good job.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
My daughter's stealing stuff and she's like running away laughing at me. She knows I can't do anything. Mike says Hacksaw. I told him it was an amazing movie. He smiled and said thank you. He said thank you. Sorry, did y'all hear that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That was my daughter still. Yes, Hacksaw is amazing, and he was incredible in it, and all that good stuff. I wish, I really wish, I wish he had a panel. And if I was leading that panel, every single second would have been a Hall H moment. I promise you that, gentlemen. It would have been epic. Um, but
I hope he
Hey,
comes
alas,
back.
just give it time, man. Give it time.
absolutely. So we've been talking about this for almost 2 hours now. So let's go ahead and get off this topic. Um, Thanks again to everybody who showed up. Thanks to everybody who stopped by our booth. Thanks to all the new followers and new subscribers, the winners of our prizes. You guys are totally awesome. And thank you to my son who helped me a lot. And thanks to our entire team because everybody was doing something. And I think the guy who probably worked the hardest outside of Tommy, who was getting berated by MJF, was Brian, who would record, or he would record like for the entire day, and then he would go home and then edit all that hours of footage into like a minute worth of a highlight reel, and it turned out to be the most spectacular video every single day that he did it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It felt like something from like Nerdist from like San Diego Comic Con. I mean, he's a real pro, and I'm glad he's on the
Yeah.
team because he gives the Countdown to the Geeks a lot of credibility.
Oh yeah, no, I told him too. Every day after he was done, I sent him a text and tell him, dude, good job. You kicked ass. You kicked ass today. But yeah, he definitely kicked ass.
Absolutely, he's one of the best guys. He's actually the founder of the Ghostbusters chapter in San Antonio. Um,
Didn't know that.
yeah, and he still attends events here and there, but the leadership he passed on to somebody else so that he could focus on his career. Um, I know we're running long, so let's kind of get through these last final topics kind of quickly. And we're going to start off with, of course, the biggest topic of the week outside of the Superhero Comic Con and Car Show, and that is the photo that Ryan Reynolds dropped on Monday, I believe, and it's from the set of Deadpool. It is him and Hugh Jackman, um, and it is just absolutely epic. Look at this, boom! Hugh and Ryan on the set of Deadpool 3, just looking so epic, and this photo nearly broke the internet. And so let's talk about it, gentlemen. We're getting Hugh Jackman in a yellow Wolverine suit. Don't mind the sleeves, folks. Hugh Jackman, he's extremely vulnerable to sunlight, and so that's pretty much the reason why everyone's expecting, or the reason why he's wearing those sleeves. But I feel like it's the closest thing we'll ever get to an authentic comic book styled suit. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, it's like the stuff of dreams, man. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, I remember in the year 2000, I was at the Huebner AMC in San Antonio watching X-Men for the first time and being so nervous about the portrayal of Wolverine by this no-name actor named Hugh Jackman. I was so nervous that my leg was shaking, and the guy next to me was like, "Can you please stop shaking?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then like 5 minutes later, I started shaking again. I was like, I caught myself, and I was like, that's how nervous I was about Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine, but he's one of the most beloved actors playing a comic book character of all time. And at this point, he needs to just do the whole Harrison Ford Indiana Jones thing and just play him in perpetuity, not quit until he passes away, essentially. So, I mean, he is Wolverine. No one's gonna. I don't. I feel like he's just one of those actors now. But yeah, getting this yellow suit, man, it means so much to the comic book fan community, the people that have been waiting for years, decades for this to actually happen. And yeah, to have him opposite Ryan Reynolds in a Deadpool film, this to me feels like it's going to be essentially an Avengers type film with so many different characters and scenarios and in jokes with the acquisition of Disney with Fox. It's gonna be fantastic, and all the leaks that we got, and the way that the actual Deadpool team got in front of it instead of all the low res stuff, they put out high res images. I mean, just fantastic move on their part. And yeah, Ryan Reynolds, I mean, he's gonna kill it. He is Deadpool as well. So you have two iconic actors that are essentially their characters and that will go down as those specific characters in a film that's essentially going to be probably filled with so many Fox characters and MCU characters, and it's part of the MCU, and they're just going to go wild with the in jokes and the jokes and the puns, and it's going to be epic. It's my most anticipated film for. Is it coming out next year or the year after?
It said 2024, I think.
Okay, and then you have the writer's strike and the actors strike that's impending, so it might get pushed back. But I mean, we've waited this long. We already got these photos to hype us up. It's just like unreal, you know. And you have that whole joke from the 2000 X-Men film. Cyclops is saying, "Would you prefer yellow spandex?" Yes, I think the fans have agreed we prefer the yellow. Maybe not the spandex, but I mean the yellow suit. I mean, it's iconic. It's Wolverine. It looks great. It works. We're getting it. Thank you, God. Essentially.
Hell yeah. November 2024. The way I kind of picture this movie in my head is like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but instead of Bill and Ted, DP and Wolvie. So that's what I'm kind of seeing it as. The rumors about this movie are wild, and I don't want to say any of them for the sake of being potentially wrong about it. So all I'm going to say is that like it has major ties to the current MCU, and with all the rumors that we're hearing, it's pretty much going to be a celebration or an execution of Fox, all Fox properties, Marvel Fox properties. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think that anything we were hoping for at any point in time with regards to X-Men or side characters in that X-Men universe, I feel like we're going to get it now. Like this is where they go all in on it, and it's super exciting, and I'm super stoked about it. And yes, shout out to the production team for putting that photo out, this photo out first, because the leaks are nonstop coming from the set in the UK where they're filming. I'm looking at them right now, and just to not spoil anything, I'm not going to show anybody. But if you want to see them, just go onto Twitter and just start looking at stuff. But yeah, it's it's pretty gnarly. Ah, very nice, very nice. Ray, any thoughts about the outfit?
Dude, I'm just happy as an X-Men fan, Deadpool fan. I've got a piece that's only, I don't even think you've seen it, Ted, yet. I showed um, David. It's a custom piece that Tim has and I have, and only a few other people have. Because I'm a big Deadpool fan, and so is Tim Duncan. But Deadpool in general, I love both characters you wouldn't believe. There's a book in the comics called X Force when they unite the team and Deadpool's a part of it. I want to see that particular page where Wolverine just hits him in the jaw, claws pop out the top of his head, and then Deadpool with his sarcastic remark goes, "I got an itch back there. Can you scratch it?" Dude, that's if they do that in the movie, I'm done. That's it. I'm like, I'm happy.
I
But
love
no,
it.
dude, I can't wait to see the two in action, especially the way, dude, Ryan Reynolds was born for this role in every way possible. Even though he's a pretty boy and Deadpool's not, it's just, I can't wait. It won't get here fast enough.
I love it. I love it. Plenty more to talk about with regards to the geeky weekly headlines. The Ahsoka trailer dropped. A new Blue Beetle trailer dropped.
Oh, dude.
Harley Quinn is they got a new poster out. Season 4 drops on July 27th. There's a new Ahsoka poster. Oh, here we go. We were going to talk about the Superman Legacy news. So real quick, we'll get through this pretty fast. Superman Legacy is dropping in 2025, and to start off, Nathan Fillion has been cast as Green Lantern. No, not Hal Jordan, but Guy Gardner, which not the one we were all hoping for, but it's better than not being a Green Lantern at all. So congrats to Nathan Fillion finally becoming a Green Lantern. Dora the Explorer, I mean Isabella Merced, has been cast as Hawk Girl, not Hot, Hawk Girl, and Superman Legacy. And then Eddie Gathegi has been cast as Mr. Terrific in Superman Legacy, written and not directed by James Gunn. Is he directing it? I don't think
Yes,
he's
it
directing
is.
it. Is he?
Yeah,
Wow.
right in directing.
And then the last one that came out earlier today, Anthony Kerrigan will play Metamorpho in Superman Legacy. And that's wild because Anthony's played two DC characters already. He played he played Zaz in Gotham, and then I'm pretty sure he played another character, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Um, but yeah, I feel like, especially with all that he's done on the Barry Show, Metamorpho is the perfect casting for him. And this Superman Legacy movie, which I thought was just going to be kind of a ho hum take on a very lighthearted Superman, now is turning out to be wacky with all these very different characters in this universe. And I'm pretty sure that's not going to be it. There's probably going to be more characters that get announced. But yeah, James Gunn, you have my attention. Even though I would love for the Snyderverse to continue, I'm willing to see what happens and kind of go from there. You gentlemen have any thoughts on any one of those casting announcements that dropped this week?
No, I have nothing. I mean, I really, be honest with you, I think Nathan Fillion fits Guy Gardner. I think he's gonna pull off that role very well.
Yeah, I believe he also voiced Green Lantern in an animated movie or series or something.
Yeah, it
So
Probably
was
yeah,
multiple
DC.
times. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, Nathan Fillion killed it in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. He was terrific. And he's part of the James Gunn circle. So yeah, everyone's been wanting him to play um, the main character from Uncharted for years, and then he kind of maybe aged out a little bit of that role. But yeah, to have him as a Green Lantern in the new rebooted DC universe, it's fantastic. And also, I heard James Gunn say that this Superman is going to be more or less akin to the way that Christopher Reeve played Superman, the more kind of earnest, saving, being amongst the people more so than what we saw in the Snyderverse. So I like that aspect of it. And yeah, the casting of David Cornsweet and Brosnahan is to me is as good a casting as you could do in the pool of actors that you have available to you. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what the first big DC film is gonna give to us directly and 100% from James Gunn's mind. And we do know that Blue Beetle is coming out, which is going to be part of Gunn's DCU going forward, which is going to drop. We're probably going to talk about, and also Creature Commandos is going to be the first thing that's going to drop on Max. So that's going to be cool. I'm excited, looking forward to it.
Absolutely. That's it for the geeky weekly headlines. Outside of that, I highly recommend you go check out all of the interviews that we've currently have out this week on our YouTube channel. Mike and Tommy interviewed Zicky Dice as well as Josh Woods. Josh Woods is a wrestler with AEW and Ring of Honor, and Zicky Dice is from Impact Wrestling. That one is hysterical. I suggest you watch that one. I don't know. Mike was all uncomfortable doing that one, at least, but he had fun. And then myself and David, we actually got an interview with Leonardo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie with Nicholas Cantu. Exclusive interview with Nicholas Cantu, who is from the San Antonio area. He actually grew up here. So, shout out to Nick for talking with us. That interview dropped early this morning, and we cannot wait for Mutant Mayhem. The things that he told us, honestly, it sounds like this is going to be an incredible film. I want to say this will probably be up there with the Super Mario Brothers movie as like one of the big hits of the year. At least it's what my expectation is. I feel like it's in the right place where it's going to get the attention of the young audience, the kids, but also teenagers will be intrigued, and then the adults who grew up with the 90s animated show, this is closer to that than the last few movies have been, as well as the entire villain mutant rogues gallery they have included. Like all of those villains we are very familiar with, they showed up on the animated show. We all had those toys.
Yeah, the
And
toys, man.
yeah, it's really exciting. So shout out to Nicholas. If you want to see that interview, jump on YouTube right after the stream and check that out. Awesome. That'll do it. I can't believe we did it. We did it. We went, we came, we saw.
Ted conquered.
We all conquered. We all conquered, and it went really well. So, again, thanks to everybody for joining us this past weekend. We'll do it again real soon. For the Countdown City Geeks, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this stream is one and only David.
King ain't got nothing on Ted.
Very true. And last but not least, y'all make some noise for the one and only Retro Ray.
Yeah, man, guys, this is awesome. I can't wait to give you some more good content.
Absolutely. If you are following us on social media, we're going to be dropping more movies very shortly, movie passes in the San Antonio and surrounding areas. So stay tuned. Make sure you turn your notifications on, and we will see you guys very soon. Don't forget about the Grease event this weekend. 45th anniversary. You're not going to miss it. Have a good night, folks. Peace.
Peace.
Real Retro is San Antonio's most popular 80s and 90s retro store. Band tees, stickers, records, DVDs, jewelry, novelties, electronics, collectibles. Real Retro is your #1 source back to the 80s and 90s. Come relive the best years of your life. Real Retro,